Detroit, 1980s. A city drowning in drugs, money, and murder. And in the middle of it all stood a teenager, Richard Wersch Jr., better known as White Boy Rick. He wasn't your average kid. At just 14 years old, he was already working with the FBI as an informant. They used him because he was smart, fearless, and invisible, a white teenager in a black-dominated drug world. Rick knew the streets better than anyone, and the feds saw him as their secret weapon. But here's the catch: while the FBI used him to bring down Detroit's biggest drug lords, Rick was learning the game himself. By 16, he wasn't just watching the drug world, he was in it. He started dealing, making money, and living fast. In 1987, everything came crashing down. Police arrested Rick with 8 kilos of cocaine in his car. Under Michigan's strict drug laws, that meant life in prison without parole, even though he was still a teenager. Rick's defense was simple. He said, "I worked for the FBI, they trained me. They sent me into this world, and then they abandoned me." But the FBI stayed silent. They didn't show up to defend him. They didn't admit he was ever on their payroll. To the court, he was just a drug dealer, not a government asset. For the next 3 decades, White Boy Rick sat behind bars, one of the longest-serving nonviolent offenders in Michigan history. Meanwhile, the people he helped the FBI catch, many of them walked free. Over the years, journalists, lawyers, and filmmakers dug into his case. Documents began to surface, former agents started to talk, and the truth began to sound less like a myth and more like a cover-up. Rick had been an informant. He had helped the FBI take down corrupt cops and major drug rings. But when his usefulness ended, they cut him loose and left him to take the fall. In 2020, after more than 30 years behind bars, Richard Wersch Jr. was finally released. By then, his story had become legend, a teenager who tried to play both sides and lost everything. He once said in an interview, "They used me when I was a kid. They threw me away when I was no longer useful." And that's the tragic truth. White Boy Rick's story isn't just about crime, it's about betrayal, power, and the price of trust. A kid who thought he was helping the law ended up destroyed by it. In the end, he was both a criminal and a victim, a pawn in a game much bigger than himself.